What's up, everybody? It's your boy String Bean back at it again with another Dead by Daylight video. Dead by Daylight adjacent video. Shut up, phone. I know you're about to. Shut up. Shh. Be quiet. Huh. What the fuck? This is another little rant video again. I think you're gonna be getting a lot more of these. Um, I didn't get much footage from the Jason PTB because it took fucking forever, and I've also been busy like all week. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I wish we got a map with it. But it's Jason fucking Voorhees. It's still amazing. But that was just a quick little update on that. What we're really here to talk about is what's next for DBD. What would I personally like or not like to see in the game? I've got three killers, which I believe are on the thumbnail that I'm going to talk about real quick, and I think one of my mates has a suggestion for a killer they'd like to see or a chapter they'd like to see. So we'll talk about that at the end. So stay tuned for that one. Let's start with number one. The one I really want in DBD is Carnage, which is Cletus Cassidy, from the Spider-Man but Marvel universe. For those who don't know him, he's a psychopathic murderer who bonds with, I think, a version of Venom, a bit of the Venom symbiote, and it turns into Carnage, which is a stronger version of Venom. Um, and he's just a fucking psychopath. Carnage is just a D1 hater, a D1 op. He's a mean motherfucker, and that's why I picked Carnage over, say, Venom. Whereas Venom now in the comics and movies alike is more of an anti-hero. If anything, he's not pure villain, but Carnage is pure villain. I don't think we have seen Carnage be truly nice as much as we've seen Venom be truly nice. But I would love to see Carnage in the game. If DBD can somehow get some licensing from Marvel, which would be kind of crazy, but I think Carnage could work very well in this game. And for those, this is all my opinion. Let's preference this first. So if you don't agree, that's okay. Suck your own dick. Like, go down in the comments and tell me what you would rather see. That's fine. But, no negativity, no hate here. It's just purely my opinions, and I'm also eager to hear your guys' opinions. So let me know down below. But don't come tell me I'm wrong. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. But Carnage, I would love to see. The power, I think, would be something with like infection, maybe like infecting the survivors with the symbiote. But then again, that would just make them more powerful. So I don't know what. But his weapon could be his hand because he can turn it into a giant axe, and many times he's turned it into a giant axe or a giant scythe, and he can just slice through survivors. Maybe a power where he goes on all fours and like runs or can like climb up walls. So imagine what's a good map? The swamp. With the main building, he could maybe climb up to a second story with a hindered effect afterwards, but he could climb up a story or he could climb on walls. Maybe he could shoot bits of carnage at you and it slows down. It's fine. It's sort of like singularity almost, but not setting up the pods. Or like a dash attack, where he goes on all fours and he charges right at you. I think it could be really cool. I think it could be a very menacing and scary killer. He is quite tiny because he's always like hunched over and stuff. He's very skinny compared to the other symbiotes, but that's why he's so agile and nimble, and it's fucking terrifying. I think Carnage would work tremendously in DBD, but they would need to make it gory and or darker for the game, which I think Marvel's done. They've not done it too much in media, but they have 100% made Carnage terrifying in comics and stuff. I've read comics. And Marvel in the comics aren't afraid to use blood and gore. Marvel isn't afraid to use blood and gore. It's just, I think in the movies it's different because it is primarily a teenage to kid adult audience. It's kids, then teenagers, then adults. Kids are going to go see their favorite superheroes. They don't want to put fucking Carnage eating Spider-Man's ass out. What I'm fucking saying. But yeah, I think Carnage would be an amazing addition to the game. My second killer, which I'm going to get into, which is a popular killer I've been hearing through the grapevine, is Darth Vader. Now, Behavior has recently done a Star Wars Monopoly game, so we know they are in talks with Lucasfilm, and we know for a fact they have a really good bond and connection with Disney, based off how the Alien chapter went. Um, and how much love Xenomorph gets in this game to this day. Disney is obviously very open to work with behavior. Um, do I think Darth Vader could work in this game? Let's just get that question out of the way. Potentially. It's a very strong potentially. They would need to make it scary. They would need to do a really good job at making him genuinely mortifying, which in some cases he can be. Um, I feel like because you can't really do too much without making him an action killer, you know? Um, and what I mean by that is like not scary, he's just powerful, you know, because that's what Darth Vader is. He's powerful because of how scary he is. So I think they need to work in. I would like to see some sort of stealth element with Vader. I mean, in the movies, you know, the hallway scene from Rogue One where he's just standing in the dark and ignites his saber and then kills everyone. You know, that's scary, right? And it's a bit of stealth. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think the power would need to involve some sort of stealth. I think we could also maybe see the Force. Maybe he could use for the Force to just lift up pallets for seconds, sort of like Vecna during chase, to show how strong he is. He can just bend the realm at will and just lift up pallets. Maybe his main source of weaponry would be his lightsaber. Duh. But maybe he could throw his lightsaber. I was thinking, he could throw it, and from where he's standing, it's like a boomerang. It's like a boomerang power. So he can throw his lightsaber, and if he moves to the left, it'll curve and boomerang. It's a very high skill ceiling then. You could get some easy shots through walls and stuff, but you would need to be really good at timing it. I think that could be quite interesting, or even just throwing his lightsaber ahead of him would work. But he would need stealth, and he would need they would need to do a bit of a redesign on Vader. I think they would need to make him a lot scarier, but I think it could work. It's just I don't want to see it become an action killer. Like it's not scary. It's just powerful. Think about Nemesis. Nemesis, for most, at least for me, is not a scary looking killer. In the games, he's terrifying, but in DBD, he just whips you and he's loud and he rolls at you. It's kind of like, okay, well, it's not that scary. But when he has undetectable, like stealth, and you just hear the clomping stompers coming towards you, and you have no clue where, and then you just get coup de grasped. That's fucking terrifying. I scream when that happens to me. So if Vader had something like that where you can hear like his breathing like it's just coming out of nowhere, and then a lightsaber's just in your chest, that I think that could work. But they would need to definitely add some element of stealth to make him a scary killer. Otherwise, he'd just be like an overpowered action killer. And for the third character we're going to talk about, let's migrate into that, is Homelander. Now, I don't know how well this would work in DBD, but I've heard people talking about it. I don't know if they could do Homelander. If they got the rights to do Homelander, they would have gotten it like the beginning of this year, and it'll come out like next year or something. But because The Boys is over, I don't know how easy or hard it would be to obtain the license for Homelander. We were theorizing from when I'm recording this, which is the 1st of June. 1st of June. We were speculating that Fortnite might have The Boys licensed out to them, but they didn't, from what we know. I could be proven wrong in the next coming weeks, but right now we were theorizing that The Boys would be part of the Battle Pass. The Battle Pass got leaked, and none of them are there. So I don't know how open Amazon or Eric or anyone is to really licensing out The Boys. But if they did license out The Boys, I think Homelander could be a good killer. I think he could. Very much emphasis on could. He is a scary character until the season finale, which may be potential spoils here. So if you don't want spoilers, just skip over. I might put a timestamp on, or maybe just click off the video. Even that's completely fine. But at the end of The Boys, Homelander ends up losing his powers and dies. Um, so what could but before that, he's this character with no repercussions for his actions. He can do whatever he wants, literally, and nobody's going to call him out on it. Nobody's going to say anything. He can just do whatever he wants, which makes him so terrifying. Imagine a killer that could potentially fly or levitate, sort of like Vecna, where he can like shoot you with laser beams or punch you with his fists, and he can just zoom across the map. And his more, he could either like laser you, or he could just like fly right through you, and your body just explodes. He is such a strong character, like that he is scary, which is what I was talking about with Vader just before. Vader doesn't have that enormous crazy strength like Homelander. Homelander can just fly through someone and kill them. Vader cannot. Uh, so for Homelander, he's a lot more scarier because he's stronger. Darth Vader would just be stronger. But Homelander is that strong that it is scary. Um, so I think it could work realistically. It would take a little bit of tweaking, maybe. But maybe he could use his laser eyes as a power, a bit of a ranged power. Maybe he could fly like Vecna. I mean, it's not too crazy. We have Vecna who can fly in the realm. Maybe if you're doing a bit of working, we could do some V1 maybe. Maybe survivors need to find the group that the boys created, maybe spread that around the map, and it slows and stops Homelander from using his powers or something. There's some few things they could work with there. Yeah, I think it'd be quite cool. And now for this last little bit here, before my friend potentially gets back to me on if he wants to be a part of this video, because he hasn't yet, but it'll cut to it'll cut to his part after this, or well, me talking about his part. But I've asked him the question; he's yet to respond. Um, the maps or any survivors that could come with it. If Carnage, I would not want a survivor. I do not want Peter Parker. I don't want Spider-Man. I don't want anything like that. I just want Carnage to be the killer. Now, you may be like, well, why don't you just want Peter Parker? Like, I don't want to see Peter Parker get murdered in the entity's realm. Like, it could be cool, but also, like, he's Peter Parker. He's fucking Spider-Man. Unless they take him when he's a nerd before he gets his spider powers. But otherwise, he is Spider-Man. He's a superhero. That's crossing a bit too much into, non-horror for me. Um, but the map, you could do like the Daily Bugle, maybe the jail from the movies, and I know Cletus is in jail for majority. Like in the first time we ever see him, he's in jail. Maybe the asylum he's from, but we already have Curtis Pren, so I don't know. But I think like a level of the Daily Bugle with a couple of cool Spider-Man Easter eggs and stuff would be cool. But like maybe like a torn down, broken part of the Daily Bugle because Carnage is rampage through. You got workers dead everywhere like Hawkins. I think that could be quite interesting. For Darth Vader, I was thinking maybe the level of the Death Star where all the TIE fighters and the Millennium Falcon come in and out. It's a really open area, but I think that would look the most visually appeasing, and it would also just honestly be a pretty cool open area. Maybe you could have like the Millennium Falcon sitting there and some TIE fighters. Maybe in the because it's a nice giant open area, you can maybe see a Star Destroyer flying past every now and again. I think it could be a cool addition to the game. And for the boys, it's kind of a no-brainer. Vought Tower. Um, but I don't know how well Vought Tower would work, so maybe Homelander just coming in as a standalone killer would also be fine. But Vought Tower, it's pretty big. I think they could work with something there. Having the rooms and the giant open desk you could turn into a like the giant like hub area where all the 7 members sit. You could turn that into into like a good loop. I think it'd be quite interesting. But yeah, that's what I have for right now. If this video ends here, thank you all for watching. I appreciate you guys watching, and let me know down in the comment section below what killers, maybe even survivors you want to see. I'm open, and maybe even if it's a good character, I might make a video about it. I might talk about if I think they would fit in DBD, in my opinion. But yeah, and if it continues on, it'll continue on. But if it doesn't, have a lovely evening, lovely morning, lovely noon, wherever you are, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. So my friend did end up getting back to me. A chapter he said he'd like to see is Slenderman. So he's just given me the character he'd like to see. I'm gonna give my thoughts and opinions on it. I think Slenderman would work really well in DBD. I grew up with Slenderman and the creepypasta space and genre. But I think Slenderman would work really well. I mean, he's creepy enough. He's a tall guy with no face and the tendrils and it's just scary. I think his power obviously could be survivors need to collect pages to maybe hinder him and make him weaker, but he can also every time either survivors collect pages and he gets stronger, or survivors collect pages and he gets weaker. But then he's got maybe a tendril attack, maybe a teleporting attack, maybe a stealth attack. There's a lot you could probably do with Slenderman, to be honest. And I think you know he's just known for stalking, so it could be kind of like a Ghostface Maya situation. But I wouldn't want to copy and paste to their power like those two characters are. Um, and for the map, I mean, fuck, we still, I don't think we have like a generic good forest yet. We have, I think, Mother's Dwelling, which is a decent forest map, but we don't just have a plain forest with like a cabin or broken down houses. Or, like I don't think we have that. So I would say a forest map would be pretty sick. I think a forest map would do wonders for this game. Jason should have came with a fucking forest map, right? We just need a forest and a cabin, DBD, like a camping area. Just give us that. But no, I think my mate's suggestion is good. Slenderman is pretty peak. Yeah, I'd like to see Slenderman in the game, and I think he'd work well. But yeah, this is actually the end of the video. So hope you're all enjoying your nights, days, mornings, wherever you are in the world right now. And yeah, like I said before, leave your suggestions in the comment section below, and I might make a video on them, or yeah, comment down below, and to be featured in the next video, I'll do a part 2 to this, with your guys' suggestions. But yeah, without further ado, that's about it, and have a good one. Bye bye.